We will go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, June 17th, 2026, City Sullivan Regular Council meeting. That was just a pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Harley are absent this evening. Gordon. Here. Frank. Here. Matthew. Here. Morris. Here. For our civility pledge, we pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community. We look to perfect and improve the agenda. Any known changes to the agenda?
No changes.
We have a motion to perfect and improve the agenda.
So.
Second. Motion by Morris, second by Kramer. Gordon. Kramer?
Yeah.
Matthew? Yes. Morris?
Yes.
Next is citizen speak. So this is time if anybody would like to speak this evening on everything we do or on anything. We do try to limit it to 3 minutes this evening. I saw that Bob was signed up. Give it Bob.
They rotate around the back side of my. I've got two old items and a new item. I just came up this afternoon. What we wanted to discuss was. Probably about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, we were here at council. And we were discussing the berm that sits in behind 521 Silver Street. The berm goes, from that berm, there's a drain that goes behind all the homes, there's 6 other homes there. To the west, and then crosses Silver Street into the storm sewer. The problem with the berm, it fills up. Right now, it's not draining. We believe it is plugged. But it's perforated line. So when it's full like this, or it gets plugged. It takes that water and it pushes it right out of our houses. So it does a real good job of filling up our sub pumps. And so every minute we can pump water out. So we're right now in the process of trying to drain that berm. We just almost got ahead of it there the other day from last week's. Because it was full into and wasn't going down. There was no swirl at all, hardly any water was coming out. Today, we've got some water coming out of it, but that's because I think our sub pumps are basically going into the drain that ties into it, tees into it down at the end there, by the end of the street, so. That's the big issue with us, Scott was here, I know Dave was here, Tammy. Back at those times that we've talked to Scott many times, I thought they had it on the agenda to have something taken care of and do something with it. Along with the street, because the street actually sits probably a foot, 12 inches or higher than our sidewalks down there where we are at 601 West Silvers. So those drains there are all undersized. I think the biggest one was 12 inch or 18 inch. Trying to do that whole street all the way to the east. And water, like, well, this morning it was impossible, of course. It usually just runs down the sidewalks. So we'd like to have something really done about it. It's been ongoing for a long time, so. The third thing that just happened this morning, and I don't know if you guys were aware of it. Somebody was drilling holes in the telephone poles on Silvers. Does anyone have any idea? Is that a lion or? They actually bored a hole in 3 of them that we know of. High or low? Low, real low. It's probably what, 6, 7, 8 inches off the ground.
Pictures of it.
You got a picture of it? Yeah.
That's
And it looks like they drove a steel plug into it or something, so I don't know. Who would be doing it or why they would be drilling a hole into a telephone pole. Low like that, so. We got pictures of the burn too.
I think they're treating
Reading it?
the inside, so they'll,
They're checking.
is there a little town?
You think that's what they're up to?
We will definitely follow up with you.
Well, you can follow up.
We have to talk to you, see what said.
And you guys talked to them all?
I have a meeting with them tomorrow, so I'll have to ask them.
Okay, I know.
And then Bob, one thing, I wanna make sure I got my addresses right, was the first one, I thought I heard 521, was that correct?
521, the bird is behind that home.
Okay,
Molly's home there.
okay,
And then their feeds in behind 601, 605, 11, 13, 15, on down to the west there where it is, there's 6 of them, so. Right now, we got 6 sub pumps running, trying to pump the berm out, like I say, it hasn't settled much, especially after the rainy days.
we'll do some digging into that and we'll follow up.
Okay.
Thank you. I didn't see anybody else signed up. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak? Okay.
James Stratton, 331, but Short Street. My first thing is, I call it Highway 1, but I think you guys call it, Manor Market. And the corner of Short, so across from Hy-Vee or, Casey's. And behind the hotel, there's a row of trees. That when you pull up to that intersection, you cannot see the traffic coming from the north. Because of that row of trees that are, I think they're evergreens, but bushes I call them. So we're having to pull out our front bumpers into traffic to see around those bushes. So if we could possibly check into cutting them back or removing a couple of them for safety reasons. So people aren't going out in traffic or. So, and then my second thing is, since January 1, my garbage cans have not been dumped 8 weeks total. Since January 1. Which
And you're
is,
at 331 West Shore, right? That's what you said. Okay.
yes,
Thank you.
I also understand that. In that block, I'm the only house that's on that side of the road. So a truck has to turn around. Sometimes he forgets to turn around, or 8 weeks in a row since January 1, has forgotten to turn around and dump my cans. Leading to me having to take my garbage somewhere because it's overflowing.
Sure.
So I've made 2 trips out to a man at my parents' house, have to dump my own garbage that I'm paying for. So. That's my.
Thank you, Curtis, for bringing that up. Very, very timely as well. We have, folks from LRS here this evening too. Thank you for.
What was his address?
331 West Short Street.
Is there anybody else this evening that would like to do this? Very sense this week. All right, that we will, move on to, agenda. So this would be approval of the minutes from the May 27th and May 29th special meetings, as well as the June 3rd regular meetings. Approval of the list of bills, the treasurer's report and transfers, building permits, which, Susie sent out to us earlier this week. And then we have a beer and liquor license for, Frida's and several, cigarette permits as well.
Tammy, ESCO automation IT support.
It's for the, it's the communication between the, sewer plant and the water tower and
Okay,
all that.
thank you.
Communication, yeah.
Any other,
No problem with the beer liquor license businesses.
No, Frida's is the only one, and the cigarette permits, those are just once a year, all at the same time.
Okay.
Casey's did have a violation a while back, which they paid for. Yes,
I would assume if it's come to us that everything's been taken care of.
they've been taken care of.
Moving forward, the consent agenda.
Sorry.
By Mackey, second by Morris. Gordon. Yes. Craig.
Yes.
Mackey, yes. Morris.
Yes.
Takes us to item 8, public works superintendent reports. There's no really guys.
I'll go. I can tell the water tower is moving along finally.
Yeah.
So they finished sandblasting early, and so they got it primed, and now we have the first coat on. Looks like the logo's been approved, so that part of it will be coming together quite quickly. I imagine the rain kind of slows them down, but sure, 3 or 4 good days. So we'll feel like that. What's that?
The noise wasn't as bad as I.
No, I don't know if you guys heard it, but they made it sound like it was way worse than it was.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you got any complaints for it.
No, not in the movies.
I've heard it.
Susan's like,
Susan-
maybe a couple.
Susie got it.
Yeah, yeah. So see any comments on your city? No.
It's called.
I got no
called Dave.
official complaints.
Now, the gray, was that the coating that they put underneath the primer, or was that the steel itself?
No, as soon as they sandblasted, they went right back and put that gray primer on there to keep it from rusting.
I was curious what that
So
was.
they did that and, every time they'd sandblast, they'd paint right over it.
So I've got a couple questions of people. Is it an Iowa company doing it?
The representatives are here, but I think they're more nationwide.
Okay.
I thought when we entered into the contract with them,
Mhm.
that they had acquired multiple
Okay.
companies with it. Sure. So some specialize, some of them specialize in the painting, some like
Right.
the different types of work, and so is it that across all the companies they have kind of experts in all the different steps, maintenance.
People are impressed with the tank that goes up. That to me is great. The biggest.
Wow. Time I come in Kathy Ridge Road.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's wrong with solar? What happened? Where's my water coming? I got a little closer. I was like, oh, they're working.
Yeah.
You're
Now the weather's kind of been nice other than a few rain days. Just trying to get some work caught up, Company wise, we're doing really well right now. Got our new mower in Monday. Guys got right out and used it. Put some hours on it right away, tested out, so. I'm doing a great job keeping up with the mowing. And, plugging away, where it works. Nothing too serious, right? You know, one challenge, but. We appreciate the opportunities that are given every day. There you go.
Thanks. Up next, item 9, city engineer report, Dave.
We spent this afternoon going out, looking at some areas that were reported to have water flowing between the houses during the recent rain events. Pretty heavy rain, very short duration, high intensity, causes runoff that exceeds what the storm sewers can handle. So a few of those areas, they had the adjacent houses get some water damage. We'll look at those areas as well as a few others. We'll stop out and look at the area over by the old railroad embankment on Travel and put together some information as far as the findings, some recommendations on things that we could do to try to help those areas. Try to put a priority together as far as which ones are the worst and what we should try to address first. So hope to have that before the council by the next meeting.
Dave. This is item 10, city attorney Kevin. Takes us to item 11, the LRS report.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, residents. My name is Ray Brevet. With me is Chris Dillard. We're the new managers at LRS. I've been here since June 1st. He's been here since June 7th. And we're working on correcting the issues that you've had. I'm still learning quite a bit. Like for you, sir, I'm from Florida. I probably missed your street because I came in with a truck on Sunday working on it. So just so everybody knows, I've got our director of staff with us, director of operations. He's come out and given us a lot of help. We've got a total of 10 drivers coming in Monday. Well, throughout the week, next week, most of them, 8 will be here Monday. I've got 7 drivers hired. We're working on getting staff back up, getting service back up to the levels that is expected of us. We do apologize for the delays and misses. We will work on it. Again, person I came in here Sunday to work on, we're dedicated to fixing what we've got. Any questions?
At one point, it was a year, maybe 2 years ago. Tammy and I met with the managers at that point, the regional manager as well. So we just talked about kind of the route, so it was consistent week after week. At that point, I believe they were going to document kind of the route, so if there was a sub or something like that, do you know if those documents exist, if that's something to go off of? I know that has been have been helpful in the past when one part of town called to, hey, we haven't been picked up yet. It gave staff an idea of, okay, well, it's kind of the seventh area of town that they're gonna pick up on it. It would be expected to be later, whereas if somebody called and they were typically the first phase to get picked up and it's 3 PM, it's like, okay, something's.
So we're starting fresh.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they did have it at some point in time. But it's a full new management team and I'm still digging through the stuff that we have. I'm working on creating maps again because I'm an old school garbage driver. I started down south and been all over the country. Maps are the key because then I can just take a screenshot, send it to the city like, hey, here's where we're at, here's where we're going. Here's what may have happened if I broke down. This is what we might miss. We'll be there first thing in the morning. And that should be the expectation of us for you guys. Is we should be able to send you that information, so you have it, you can notify your residents if they have questions, and then they can trust us, come pick it up when we say we're going. Even when we are doing it, the breakdown that people do have. Maybe a little bit more severe here more recently before I got here, but we're.
If there's anything that we can do as a city to help bring you up to speed more quickly, anything like that, let us know. There's been, I thought we'd have a lot more folks in here this evening based on what you hear and see online with that. But it's one of those things where we want to see you be successful as well. One, just it's a partnership, but then also it's seeing the complaints and the concerns, and I'd say the complaints are very valid complaints, whether they're missed timing, communication, all those things. With that, and we want to get back to that level that we had seen previously. So if there's anything that we can be doing to help bring you guys, again, you're second 2 weeks on the job, week and a half, with it, understand if there is that learning curve.
Honestly,
but if we can get it up. As
Cammy's been the biggest help. She's been extremely fast on the communication. We were even out here collecting and she was sending us information. Like she's clearly dedicated to what she's doing. It's been extremely helpful for us. We've got some work to do, but man, it's been very helpful. Thank you.
with that, I know, Matt, you had a.
Yeah, I know you said you started a couple weeks ago, so I'll go easy on you, okay? My concern with this is right, is there's, prior to you being in charge or whatever, there has been a continual lapse that we have seen between what's been promised for services and what hasn't, and every time Cammie has communicated effectively with you guys, it's a promise of we're gonna be here, we're gonna pick it up, we're not gonna be late. Weekend like city provide garage sales were a couple weeks ago. I know we pre-talked, we kind of pre-engaged in conversations with you guys about having, how important it was to have it fixed up, because that gets a lot of in-town traffic coming from other communities, and that fell short. And every single time that I believe we've engaged with you guys, it's always due to some staffing issue, mechanical error. There's always some underlying, I'll call it an excuse, sorry, that's too strong a word, but there are shortfalls that continue to happen, and every time Cammie engages with you, we get the feel-good speech of, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna do better next week, only to come into another shortfall, and as Dan alluded to, then we take a lot of heat because folks want their trash picked up, so they don't have to drive it and pay for other services that they shouldn't have to, because they're already getting a city garbage bill. So I would just implore you to fix this problem and fix it fast. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of really unhappy folks in here the next time we come and chat. Okay, thank you.
I'll just speak to some of this. So I'm a local person, born and raised in North Liberty my whole life. I came on because I believe we need to get back to being a local company where we're gonna have a on-staff call set or customer service representatives that you guys can call into instead of calling out to our corporate office in Chicago. As far as maybe something that we need to look at, someone has blown up since I've hauled trash here 24 years ago. Maybe it's something where we look up this time and split the time and go twice a day or twice a week, because it is almost too much. We were out here Sunday and packed out a truck. We didn't get it all on. Obviously with this storm this week, we are gonna be behind. And with Juneteenth on Friday, landfills are closed.
I completely understand the holidays and,
Yep.
you know, the operational logistics to it are completely your expertise, right? So if you have to run trucks 2 days a week for
Yep.
this side of town and this side of town another day, I'm all in favor of what, you know, you guys are limiting capabilities that way. As long as it's consistent and on time, and then the bottom line is it's a service that our residents pay for, that they expect to be completed, no different than if I'm having somebody fertilize my yard and they don't do it. Why would I keep employing that company?
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of where my mind's at and kind of what I've heard from a lot of the other folks in town. So I just wanted to be completely transparent with you that that's the way the residents that I've talked to are feeling right now. And that's kind of the expectation that personally, I mean, I'm affected too. So that they have going forward.
Yep.
I just want to chime in a second. I'm Rupert Dumont. I'm the Director of Operations for LRS. And when this got brought to my attention, I actually live in Indianapolis. But when this got brought to my attention, got right in my vehicle, came out here, and I'm gonna be out here until it's fixed. Wife doesn't like it that much, but she'll get over it. We've been together 35 years, so she'll get over it great. But I'll be here until it gets fixed. Got the 2 new managers in. They both got over 20 years of experience. I got crews coming in from all over Monday, and they're gonna be here until everything is fully staffed up and everything is getting picked up. We'll communicate on a daily basis if that's what you want. We'll communicate on a daily basis, letting you know where we are, what's going on, so you're not getting surprised, but you're not getting a call, but I'll give everybody my card with my personal cell phone on it to assure you that I'm committed to it and we will get it fixed.
Thank you, Zach.
Andrew, do you have any?
I don't know. I'm only, just, as long as you guys understand, our people are paying for this and they aren't happy.
Mhm.
It's no different wherever you go, as a consumer. I think that's the one thing I've heard.
It's unreasonable.
The thing that I would maybe encourage you guys, you could get something on our local paper about how you're trying, you made some changes, and it's gonna be better, it may soften the blow a bit. I would highly encourage you to do that. And I think our people, our citizens, our taxpayers would appreciate hearing from you rather than them having to call the poor person that's answering the phone and taking it. That's not fair.
Absolutely.
You guys understand that, that's great. I'd encourage you to do that with our local paper. I think it'd go a long way.
I'll end on a high note here too. Everything I have heard about the drivers that you currently do get in town, I've heard nothing but great things about them, that they're polite and respectful, they go the extra mile to do the job. So we do have people recognizing that the employees you guys have out there are doing a great job.
It's just a lot of good being out there, even though it was Sunday, just talking to customers.
Yep.
Talking to residents. I don't think we had one crossword with any one of them. They were all understanding. I think that's our shortfall. We weren't communicating. I know my girlfriend has asked who Cammy is now about 20 times.
We've talked a
Because
lot.
we talked a lot. In fact, Sunday, I think we were doing hour by hour
Yes, we were.
updates on where we were because I wanted to keep the community engaged as far as we were there to get you guys picked up. I wanted to get it all picked up Sunday. We fell short by one section. And then, you know, obviously we had a bunch of missed stops because people didn't know where to put their trash in. And, I will tell you that every week you're gonna see an improvement from here on out. Like I said, I'm a local guy. The other day, I just, like I said, talked to Liberty. I do not want to be tar and feathered in my town. And I want my face to be seen and not hated. And so we're gonna rebuild our image day by day, soon week by week, month by month, year by year, so that you guys have full confidence in RS.
Can I say a few words, Mayor? So cities are required to offer 5 essential services. Emergency services, water, sewer, streets, and garbage. When one of those 5 are not working as they should, it is a big deal. I spent hour by hour on either phone, email, or text with Chris or a resident of this community the entire weekend. Because I cared. But that's not okay.
No.
Susie should not have to do that every weekend. I should not have to do that every weekend. Our residents should not have to do that every weekend. This is a big deal. And what I've shared is that we expect them to not be in town before 7 and start the same end of town every day. Or every week. So if somebody who's used to 10 o'clock pickup and suddenly they come at 7 that day, they deserve that consistency. We expect to know early in the day if you have a breakdown or running late, so we can communicate that when people start calling us on Friday around noon because their recycling or garbage isn't picked up. We expect carts to be delivered when people need carts. We have a lot of people moving in and they're not getting carts for 2 and 3 and 4 weeks. We expect when somebody gets missed that we have somebody to communicate with before Monday. So we can tell folks, not everybody's on Facebook. So all the announcements we put out over the weekend, there's a good population that never saw any of those. They don't know to bring their card in, leave it out. So, that communication piece and just the expectations for just consistent service are our expectation. And as I shared with Chris and Ray, that all those one-offs, truck breakdown, bad weather, those have all been used up. People are frustrated. And so when those unusual and unexpected events happen, everybody's already this frustrated. Now they're super frustrated. So you want grace, but you've used it all up. You got to fix it. You got to reestablish the trust of this community so that when those unexpected things happen, then things don't have to blow up. Thank you.
You did say you're gonna have a call center.
We will have somebody staff, local number in our office, in North Liberty. That you folks can call. Cammy has my work phone number, my personal cell phone number.
No, I'm saying more of a place that, one of the biggest complaints that you see is the lack, nobody can call LRS.
Yes.
Know what's going on. And they need that. And that's when anonymous participant 467.
I love it, I love 464.
Oh, you don't need that.
I totally agree. While we were out picking up Sunday, I watched the message. I was watching all of it. And as I'm watching her post, I'm watching the 25 comments. At one point, we had broken a finger. It happens. Piece of 1/4-inch steel and it's snapped in half. Well, I'm letting her know right away. And I think 2 seconds later, participant 1937 is going, I don't believe them, and I sent her a picture of the finger broke. I understand that everybody's patience is worth it. And I understand we have a lot of work to do. And at the end of the day, I don't know if I'll ever get to anonymous participant 1974-3 because that's what they do. Some people you just can't satisfy. But I also understand that other 6,000 residents have a legitimate complaint. We have not been doing the best job we can do. And I can only speak for the last week. I know the last week I did the best job I could with what I had. Now, next week I have so many more tools in my tool bag that you will see a dramatic improvement. And then those tools aren't leaving until we are 100% operational. So that's all the new hires, they're all properly trained. I love the fact that all the guys that we have are doing an excellent job. They are tired because they're trying to do the job of 19 men and we don't have 19 men right now. So.
Are these drivers coming permanent?
So we're bringing in drivers from our other locations to also help train all these new, I can't train 10 drivers.
And most of the drivers that I'm bringing in, they're all management supervisors that drive also. So we have leadership that's coming in, that's gonna be out on the street, and then training all the new ones, that we got in there. And then I'll be out on the road just monitoring what's going on.
Because we want to set the standard high. We don't set a high standard, then there is no standard. And I could just say, oh, we're gonna bring in all these people and we're gonna set ourselves up for failure.
The goal is to make you forget about garbage.
Well, that's what it's been like in the past, is we're gonna fix this, next week's gonna be better, and it's consistently falling short. So like Cammy said, you're kind of out of, opportunities for grace here.
No, we understand. Yeah, we understand it. Your guys' anger level is here, we're gonna take it down to here. And like I said, as much as we don't have anybody's patience, we need just a little patience. And because it's a process, you know, I can't rebuild Rome tomorrow. I wish I could. But what I can say is that every week, you guys will get happier and happier, and eventually you guys will get sick of hearing from us because we're gonna engage. I'm gonna talk to Cammy every Friday and give her an update on where we're at. And pretty soon she's gonna say, I don't know why you keep calling me because everything's picked up. But, you know, I want feedback every week on how well we are doing. And that's something that we'll obviously reach out and get as the weeks go on.
I think it's one of those things, kind of it's back to kind of earning that right, where it's until it's, Chris, you don't need to call us to tell us that you're halfway through the route at 11 a.m. because we've had no issues, no complaints, but it's getting back to that point where it's the communication is key. To me, it sounds like you guys had a great from, I hope it goes as smoothly as it can with it hearing, you know, the bringing in leadership from other areas to help train. Like you said, you need 19 drivers and they're bringing in 10 next week. It's extremely short staff.
Yeah.
With that, so we can understand that, but it goes back to kind of that grace as he kind of evaporated with that. So it sounds like you have a great plan. But I think what anybody would think is that actions speak louder than words with that. So it sounds like you got a great plan on paper. We hope to see the improvement and everything that the plan brings with it. But again, it's if you're struggling with something, you need help with something. Again, we want to see you succeed. So it's trash is something that is nobody thinks about with that. So if there's are things that we can be doing, we have tremendous staff here. Let us know how we can help your plan be successful. So,
Absolutely.
And I have a question. Okay, does this also go for recyclable? Because in this class I attend, the top conversation has been the trash pickup. And today, one gentleman there said that, there was going to be no longer recycle pickup and they're supposed to put their recycle in the trash.
Continuing recycle services.
So I will tell him that I'm going back to Friday. I will pass that on. I just want, that didn't sound right, but I thought I'd better check.
And we're moving into a world where sustainability is key and recycle's gonna be a hard one to ever get rid of.
Okay, so I will tell him not to separate, or to separate, keep things separated and to pass it on or anything.
we have a question for
Goodwill starts Friday, gentlemen.
Is there a timeline?
Well, I mean, like I said, you know, Friday landfills are being closed, so we'll be in here Friday and Saturday for the holiday. We're gonna try to get as much picked up on Friday, but we're very limited.
Yeah, you only do so much for the trucks.
Only so much we can do, but you know, I don't know if that's a good thing for us or a bad thing for us yet.
Oh, but you notify people
Yeah.
know.
that even if it's if LRS could have a post like that we could share, it says
Yep.
landfills will be closed on Friday, so as the town has grown, no longer fit the entire town and.
Yep.
But,
In one load, yeah.
one thing I heard Jacob at timeline as far as the training, and kind of bringing everything up to speed, you have, you know, dates that you want certain milestones hit so you can track, or, you know, is the plan that you have mapped out, how can you tell or judge that you're being successful with your plan?
So 30 days, you'll see a total difference, you know, because the time frame to get the new ones trained, it's usually 2 weeks. Now, we have a lot of new ones that are coming in that are already trashmen, just coming from other companies. So they take less time to train, but 30-day time will be fully staffed, and the crews that I'm bringing in aren't gonna leave until it's like a smooth transition and pass it over.
question for you, so that your issue really isn't the equipment, you've got the equipment, you just don't have the drivers.
Correct. We have,
So if you wanted to cover it on Friday, since don't disclose, you could bring 2 trucks over, then you know you have capacity.
we have the equipment, the problem is the personnel right now, we'll have plenty of personnel on Monday.
Well, and to go into that is, we also, not only do we pick up Solon on Fridays, we also pick up other towns, so.
We see it.
Usually we're jumping from one town, they coming over here and picking up, so we're gonna be limited as far as equipment goes, because we have nowhere to take trash on Friday. Cause it has to stay in county, and Iowa City is closed, so they'll be open Saturday morning, and we'll get our trash trucks dumped. And get them over here as quickly as possible, and then vice versa. Fridays is where we take our recycling is open, but Saturdays they're closed. I'm trying to get them to let us dump on Saturday so that we have enough empty equipment to get everybody's services. Sure.
So though they're open part of a day, Saturday, you can't dump on Saturday?
So actually, last Saturday, we were turned away at the landfill because they were, they don't want to stay open till noon. We were the truck that was next to enter in, and they said no. So we were behind the 8 ball there last weekend, and then, as far as this next week, they're open only until noon.
That's what I was asking. So you can't dump on Saturdays?
So we can dump till noon on
Oh,
Saturdays.
just as long as it's by noon,
Yes.
okay.
By noon, and I was told by the lady at the landfill, because we sat in line for an hour and 15 minutes. Waiting on the hill, she said, well, you need to come in at 10 o'clock. So those are things that you guys don't know, and,
The other
like,
thing,
we're out of excuses.
the other thing I think everyone should know is DOT regulations on hours of service. I can't safely have drivers operate greater than 14 hours or greater than 60. So that's something, and that's more for the safety of the residents and the drivers.
Yeah, guys, I think. We don't know your business, but that's right. So whether you sit in line for an hour and a half because there's a back of trucks or whatever, that's all business for you guys, right? How you handle your business. Same thing with personnel, right? I'm not here to tell you you need 50 drivers, 100 drivers. That's, you know, that as a company. Okay, just like if Juneteenth closes the landfill on Friday, that's a federal holiday. So I wouldn't expect it to be open and you're limited in that capacity. Those are very reasonable. That's a very reasonable excuse to me, is if your dump site's closed, it makes sense that you can't pick up so much. I'm not here to argue about that. What I'm saying is that your internal business problems that you've had so far aren't a city issue. Those are you guys' issue. We're paying for a service that expects certain results, and we expect it to be done the way we're paying you in the contract, okay? A failure to do so would be a violation of the contract, right? And we have to look into the best interests of our citizens. So I understand that, trucks break down, people get laid off and leave. That's not a city of Solon problem. We pay you for a service, and I can appreciate, and we go back to that period of grace. I'm just gonna emphasize again that the excuses have been used up from company problems. So this is a service that the residents expect to happen, and I'm encouraged by what you guys had to say, and I hope in both of our best interests that this just, continues to get better when we build and we get to where we don't have to have a conversation with you, and you guys are, doing a great job. So that's what I hope, but I just want to separate I don't really care about the business excuses is what I'm saying. Fix your guys' internal stuff, deliver the service we're paying for, and everybody's happy.
Absolutely.
Well, really appreciate you guys coming in this evening, talking through your plan. And sharing some of the insights into what's led it to get to this point with it. We definitely want to see that turnaround as quickly as possible with it. And it's, as Matt alluded to, is we are paying for a service. We expect that service to be delivered. And again, there are ways that we can help have that plan in action more quickly if it's ride-alongs, like as far as mapping out town, anything like that. If there's suggestions that we can help give anything, please let us know how we can.
I think one thing we'd like, because you guys, the city is growing so fast, is updated addresses for the directory. I don't need to know people's names or numbers, but just addresses that we can enter into our system. That we have routing programs that we can put in that will help map out the best course. I know that Amy wants us to start at one end and work across. Sometimes that's not feasible. I'll give prime example today with the storm. We held off on picking up recycling. Why? Because it blows everywhere. And then we get 6 million calls of your recycling is blowing out of the truck. And so we can't always start at one end. And we just kind of start where the best place is. We would love to get it to where a route is consistently run. So it might start over here and gets to a point where maybe we have to bring 2 trash trucks in, and one starts on this end of town and one starts on this end of town. I do understand that customers like to have their trash all through from 7 a.m. Just not feeding those kids.
Not a matter of everybody wants 7 a.m., it's a matter of what people reach to go 10 or
Yeah,
11.
But that all changes as the city grows. That 9 a.m. pickup that was every morning at 9 is now 9:50 or 10 o'clock, because now we're picking up, a whole new city block.
Well, we can address that when the city grows.
And
So, and that's reasonable.
yeah,
Would it be something that we can pull addresses from either water bills or something?
Easily.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Please keep the communication proactive, with it, and let us know how we can.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Takes us down to recognition, so, Chris, hit your decade with the city. Oh, we're gonna. See, over the last years, we talked about not too long ago with another service anniversary with the Public Works, but it's, the last year and a half has been trying. Your attitude has been great. Your effort has been just as great, and to see the leadership role that you've taken on with these, extended or expanded responsibilities you've taken on, have been impressive. 10 years is a long time with any job with it. Hope you see this as a career and not just a job. 10 years is a huge step towards that, but, thank you for the 10 years you've given us. Hope we have way more than 10 more with you, to come. But just, again, your attitude, your effort, how you show up each and every day. Really just appreciate everything you do, for this community, what you bring for this community. I'm really excited for you to continue to bring that with us. So that we do have a little, plaque.
What'd you do?
I didn't even have.
Yeah.
Then glass, I'm just right around.
Oh, Tom was on? I thought Tom wanted to get in.
Chris, thank you.
You know, where is it?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we're gonna stop and pick up your address layout.
Take us to old business, so item 13, ordinance 496, the water rate ordinance, third and final reading. No changes since the first and second readings.
No changes since the first and second readings. This is the final reading. So what will happen next is these ordinances will get published in the newspaper. They will be signed by the mayor. They will become official. They will go into effect July 1st. And this is to increase the water rates and the sewer rates. And they will be effective on the July water billing. Water bills that people will receive at the end of July. we've talked at length about the changes that are coming. In your packet is an example of the letter that was mailed today. We mailed 1,362 letters today. And that's to every resident. Some people have 2 meters, or like the school has 4 or 5 accounts. Each household or business is getting 1 letter. And it explains what those codes are on the water bill, how they're changing. And is intended just to give people some advance notice of the changes coming on the water bill, effective in July. Of course, these changes are directly related to the new wastewater treatment plant that's going to be bid next year. And we have a lot of information on the city website that kind of explains the why and how and what to expect with that process on the website for folks that want to know more about that. We also have 2 public information meetings that staff are going to be holding with for the community who just want a more informal setting to come in and just ask questions. So those are scheduled for, I'm sorry, I don't have the letter right smack in front of me, but I believe one's July 23rd. Is that right? Sorry, I didn't have that page. And then the other one, I believe, oh, here we go. Thursday, June 25th at 3 p.m. here. City staff will be available for anybody who just wants questions specific on how we calculate this. How is this going to impact their usage? So we can have just a little more of that one-on-one to help people kind of talk through and work through that. Also on Tuesday, June 30th at 6 p.m. We have another one scheduled. And again, that information is in the letter that went out, and we'll be sure to share that widely for folks to come in and talk to us. And if more sessions are needed in July, we're happy to do that too.
For all the details with that, for hosting the kind of Q&A sessions that are open to the public. Any questions on ordinance 496 for the 3rd reading? We have a motion for 3rd reading of ordinance 496.
Second.
Motion by Gordon, second by Kramer. Gordon?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Matt? Yes. Morris?
Yes.
Item 14, ordinance 497, the sewer rate ordinance, so the second part of that, all the information that can be just very bolts true for the sewer portion as well. Anything to add?
I think so.
We have a motion for ordinance 497.
I'll motion.
Motion by Kramer, second by Gordon. Gordon? Yes. Kramer?
Yes.
Matt? Yes. Morris?
Yes.
It's down to new business, so item 15, resolution 2627. Resolution approving the form of request for proposals and setting a date for the receiving of proposals for the Solon City Center Development Project and Fire Station redevelopment. Yep.
Well, this is been a little while in the making. Want to thank the Building and Growth Committee for being involved with this. I also meant to thank the Finance Committee for helping with the mailer that's going out on the new water and sewer rates. Because, you know, it takes many eyes on these things to, to help us, make sure we're getting the information that we want to relay out there. The RFP as a whole is intended to provide both the formal process, which Kevin will speak about in a moment. It involves a resolution and a process, but also information. What does the city want to see? What is the city's goal? What is the city's desire? So looking at that entire process, it takes kind of a broad view, but needs those specifics for developers who are going to be interested in these properties. So there is a date of August 8th that submittals or proposals are due. And then there's also an information on July 21st, which is a pre-submittal meeting, letting folks know that, they're required to come and meet with city staff before they submit their proposal. We also plan to have some open houses in those spaces, both, as requested, as well as, have this RFP, on the city website, available upon request and shared with any developers who's expressed interest or will be expressing interest, because it will be official and open as of approval tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I want to again thank Kevin because he has really helped guide this process. I'm going to talk about kind of just the
Yeah,
nuts and bolts
so the
part.
process here, since we used tax increment financing to purchase some of these properties, there's a very specific way you go about disposing of the property or selling it or redeveloping the property to somebody else. So you have to have some type of bidding form or procedure. So the way the committees, everybody thought the best way to do it would be an RFP. So what happens here is we approve the form of the RFP, we send it out, and we'll get proposals on the Friday, the first Friday in August, I believe. So, and once those proposals are here, then they would come back to the council or come back to a committee, then the council to make a recommendation for somebody to negotiate an agreement with. So after you've picked a proposal, you negotiate an agreement, and once the agreement's ready to be approved under the chapter 403, which is tax increment financing, you have to have a 30-day notice issued that says the city intends to enter into an agreement with this person to do this project on this site, and these are sort of the generic terms of the project, and that if nobody submits another proposal within 30 days, we will enter into the agreement, and that'll be the end of the process. You also, under the law, you also have to give somebody can come in after you've done the agreement and say, oh, I have a better proposal for the same. You could get a separate proposal for after you have an agreement negotiated. It's not likely because they usually don't have enough engineering, they don't want to spend enough money to do that, but that's a requirement. So once we get an agreement, we'll have another 30-day notice. And then after the 30 days notice is done, we'd have a public hearing here, and then the council would approve the agreement with whoever, and then go from there. So if somebody brought another proposal in and the council decided the other proposal is better, you just do the same thing. You get an agreement with them, and then you start the process over, the 30-day process over again. So once you have the agreement done, that triggers the extra 30 days. So it's kind of convoluted. If you just bought a piece of property using your general fund and you wanted to sell it to somebody, you usually have to do a 4 and 20-day notice. You're done. But this is, since you use tax increment financing, you have to do this process.
What you're gonna find in the RFP, along with the formalities of the RFP process, is you're gonna find some historical data and reports that the city has done over the recent years to I kind of identify and plan for development of this area. We have various reports that have called out this area specifically and have various ideas. And so we've included those in the report, but also Dave Scheckinger, the city council approved for Dave Scheckinger to survey the vacant lots. And that is going to, it's actually a money saver for a developer to have that all surveyed. So now they already know where all those utilities are, because there are utilities on those empty lots and those alleys. And those would need to be moved if somebody wanted to build over those alleys. You want to talk a little bit about that process? We appreciated, I know your team put a lot of work in it.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we had the boundaries established. We did some retracement surveys to make sure that when they were going to develop the lots, they knew what they were getting. Any easements that are on those properties, they need to know about those. Utilities, as Cammie mentioned, it has the topography so they can see the slope of the ground, how it's shaped right now, the work they'll have to do to try to get that worked out from a grading standpoint. It also shows, the electrical lines, the storm sewers, and the other utilities there, so they understand where the connection points are. a lot of this work they would have to do preliminarily on their own in order to get the detail, to be able to put something together. We've given this to them upfront so that they don't have to put the investment in to get that detailed information and the due diligence on that to figure out what they're starting with. So, it'll help shorten their time frame up front. It'll give them accurate information to base their proposals on. And, again, the legal standpoint, they know exactly what the boundaries of the lots are.
So if they wanted to vacate some of the alleys back there to, you know, obviously they can't build over the alley, they'll at least know where they can do that. And if there are utilities in the alley, they would have to pay to move those. But we could vacate the alley and that could be part of their property that they purchased from us.
Kevin, can you talk a little bit through the process as far as how the selection goes? So if we have, you know, multiple proposals submitted.
So usually what you get is you're gonna get proposals that show what they want to build, how much they want to pay you, if there's any assistance they are expecting. So all these proposals may be totally, it's not like a street project where it's like, okay, I got the lowest bid. It's basically what is in the best interest of the city. The city council can determine that. And then you could enter into that agreement. So it's not really a, you know, it's more of a subjective process to look at, but you know.
That's what the RFP really is for.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
The best idea.
Yeah, so somebody may pay you a full price for the ground, but they do a project that you're not as happy with, or somebody's gonna pay you, 75% of what the property's worth, but they're gonna do a project that you really want, so you don't have to take the person who's gonna pay you the most for the ground, or pay you, or if they wanna pay you at all, but, so I think it's just more of the council, what project in the aggregate is the best for the city.
And so upon approval tonight, we will do a press release tomorrow, and this will be available to the public.
Any questions about the process?
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Pretty thorough. Very thorough, actually.
With that, do we have a motion for resolution 26?
So moved.
Motion by Warren, second by Mackey. Gordon?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Mackey? Yes. Warren?
Yes.
All right, takes us down to other business, so item 16, the council committees. Let me go around through the list.
Yeah, streets, we don't really have an active meeting right now, but we are following up and getting some, we are working on gathering some data for a meeting later in the summer related to curb and gutter and street projects like, Mr. Huber talked about. We do have several streets on the list. We're working on prioritizing those. Same with curb and gutter projects. Finance, we renewed some additional CDs last week, and we also they were active in reviewing that mailer that went out regarding the rates. We're also reviewing the purchasing policy that's kind of been in draft mode for the last year, so that shit's close to coming to council. Personnel will be working with the mayor on my city administrator review here in the next few weeks. Building and Needs Committee met today, out at Saddleback Estates. And Saddleback Estates, as I've mentioned to the council, is looking at restructuring their PAD into a subdivision format, and there's a process that goes with that. They will be coming to the council meeting on July 1st to gauge council support of that idea.
I might add that our meeting day, we asked them to be very, very, very thorough. So it will help all of us make a good decision.
And just a little background on what that means. Right now it's set up as a condominium association. Well, if these are gonna transition into a subdivision with individual lots, well, that is an impact to the mortgage lender and how the mortgage is structured. It impacts how property taxes are structured. So there's a lot of things associated with that we've asked them to not only do the homework, but make sure the folks that are living there who will be impacted by this fully understand the impacts of the change. Then, next is the 2080 agreement. We're trying to finalize the date here within the next few weeks. one more meeting, I think Mayor O'Neill said, and we should be ready. And then, community center, Kevin and I just have not had a chance. That committee met after the last council meeting. We have a little bit of homework to do to get to the committee, and we will get that done here before the next council meeting. And then,
And then Lynn, I talked to Lynn Rose, she's meeting with their PDA, which I'm assuming is Josh's group to go over that bridge area.
oh, with,
PDS,
yeah, that's
yeah,
plains.
okay, yeah, so I talked to her earlier this week.
Thank you for all the updates. So I think, item 17, the quick report. Administrator comments.
Yeah, I wanted to, thank a few people. A lot went into this RFP and staff, Kevin, Dave, just a lot of support to make that happen. And this is a big, exciting opportunity too. So, it usually takes, it usually takes a group, and I really count on Dave and Kevin, so much every day. But they were a big help on that especially. I want to thank Susie because she has taken the brunt of all of this garbage mess.
Amen to that.
She has, it is not her fault. None of it's her fault, but she's been on the receiving end of most of it. And I want to thank her for that because it's not fair. And she's nice to everybody all the time. And I hate to see her have to take the brunt of all this and have to be on the receiving end of all these angry complaints. Public Works, I gotta tell you, with all the rain that we got last week, Dave Richards handling that sewer plant with that much rain, thank you for your expertise. That was incredible. The flooding that we had in town, the way Public Works managed that emergency was just so impressive. And we are so blessed to have experienced Public Works staff. Chris, had a very long day and then they would turn around, went right back out there in the evening, help clean up and helped, get some of those storm drains cleaned out, get the streets cleaned up. So again, just an opportunity to say thank you to all the people that make this city, work smooth. Congratulations to Chris because he is one of the most organized people. He's always helpful. He is 2 steps ahead of me most of the time on most things, and I appreciate that. And so 10 years is really something special to celebrate. We are very fortunate to have you. And finally, Dave Richards and I will be attending an Alliant Energy breakfast tomorrow because we have been invited to attend and receive a Premier Energy Champion Award for the VFD retrofit project at the sewer plant. So, explain a little bit about what that was for the new council members.
We are part of what we call the sewer plant tour. There's a group of professors and stuff that kind of went around and evaluated smaller towns, their sewer plants. They gave us some ideas of ways we could save energy, and one of the things that they're really pushing was a nutrient reduction. And one of the ways that our plant would get nutrient reduction would be to either slow down the ditches or turn them off for a certain amount of time and let the oxygen level of water drop out. So we came up with this plan to put VFDs on the ditches, got a grant to do it. So we got nutrient reduction and we won this award.
And a good breakfast.
And we get some breakfast, I guess, yeah.
That's just another example of finding ways to just continuously improve how we do things and talking to folks that have different experiences and finding out recommendations and then seeing what works best for us. So good, very well. Thank you. Item 19, council comments?
Did you see the last time? Okay, come do it.
Comments that I have, so, Scott Buffy, did, pass away. Scott dedicated over 3 decades to this city. The city's a better place because of Scott. He wore the city on his sleeve, and he cared a lot. It wasn't just a Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 4. Kind of attitude that he had. He fully embraced this town. I remember speaking at his retirement at the council meeting not too long ago. Just about kind of the shoes that he was leaving to fill, and he touched this town in a number of ways, whether it was as a staff member of the city, helping start the Lions Club, beef days, all those things. So it's thoughts and prayers are definitely that Tina and his family. There will be a celebration for all that he did this Sunday. I'm at Lake McBride with it, but it's a huge loss for this community, and it's kind of hard to come up with more words than that with it, but Scott was a great member of this community and will definitely be missed. Aside from that, I don't have any other comments. Take us to motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, motion by Martin, second by Mackey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I should, that's the whole.